Protect yourselves at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck.
Jeff Hines is the third man in the ring for this 10-round heavyweight bout. Chisora is wearing the Queen's emblem on his trunks as we finally get ready to box. After all of that, Chisora is ready to go with Hector Avila. Again, he weighed in at 252. He's got an advantage here of 34 pounds. Jameel McCline knows what giving away weight means, or having a big weight advantage against another fighter.
You know, I fought for the heavyweight championship of the world against Chris Bird. I weighed in at 263. He weighed in at 214.
Wow. I think you should have done more with him with that big advantage.
I thought I won the fight. So did a lot of other people. But, you know, he proved why he was a champion that night. Took a lot of punishment, that's for sure.
Let's watch Chisora fighting, especially on the inside. He likes to put his head on the chest of an opponent, and he goes right to work in the corner.
Looks like Dereck's just kind of getting into the mood here. He's just kind of getting into the flow. He's not really, there's no real sense of urgency in any of his movements.
Jameel, can you speak to a fighter like a Chisora possibly wanting to get rounds in, not wanting to, if you can, blast the guy out right away, wanting to get rounds in?
Absolutely, because the difference between getting rounds in the gym and getting rounds in live is you got the 10-ounce gloves on as opposed to the 18-ounce gloves. You don't have the headgear on, and more importantly, you got the lights. People don't understand. It's very hot under these lights here.
And it's been 280 days since Chisora has actually worked a fight, so this is a chance for him to get his feet under him and to try to, you know, get some timing back. He was supposed to fight Andrzej Pala, who was from the Czech Republic, 32-3 with 22 KOs, but that fight fell out. And so Hector Avila, El Tiburon, was a late add-in, a replacement for the fight, as Chisora lands up against the ropes and chops away at the midsection of Avila.
Jameel, how quickly can you tell if ring rust is a factor? Can you tell right away in the first round?
Not in this case. Sometimes you can, but in this case, I don't know yet if ring rust is a factor in Dereck Chisora's ability here to finish his guy off or take him the distance, whatever he's going to do. We don't know yet. But, you know, typically when you take that long of a break, you definitely have ring rust to work off.
And a little bit of a smile there from Avila. And looking for the uppercut is Chisora. Again, he uses his arms a lot. There's a right hand that landed by Chisora.
And for the people who are watching that don't know what ring rust is you know, when you have a long time off, your timing's off, your conditioning is not up to par.
It's a sharpness, isn't it?
Yes, it is a lack of sharpness.
Right. Chisora is handled by Don Charles. They've been together for 7 years. They are an interesting pair. And there's Avila's corner. Martin Benitez and Quinteros Gabriel.
Benitez has a baby face. He's 37 years old. Avila just turned 38 the other day. So it's a young crew there.
And there's Chisora's corner with Don Charles and Sanjay Ajayi and Dean Powell, the cut man.
Yeah, before you go into that body thing. And when you do it,
Chisora started out his career with the 14 consecutive victories, and then he stepped up the competition. And I talked about weight. He was 261 against Fury, and he fought bad. He was 243 against Helenius, and he fought well. He was 241 against Klitschko, Vitali, that is, and I thought he fought another good fight, averaging 30 punches per round. And David Haye, in that fight, he fought very poorly. So even though he couldn't get inside against Vitali Klitschko, he was respectable. And the bottom line is, here he is at 252. If he wants to get serious, I think he's got to be in the 235, 230 range, which is something he's got to get committed to. And here he lands that uppercut and chops away at the body. He's a strong customer at 252, but he's not going to have the speed to beat the best in the business.
Chisora just needs a W. He just needs a win. Remember how to win.
And that's what he hopes to do here tonight, along with Jameel McCline and Mike Woods. I'm Bruce Beck. Hope you're enjoying our action tonight on Epics.
You know,
at Wembley Arena.
I don't really mind Chisora getting the rounds in. I'd like to see him get rounds in, only because he's been off for so long and he's dealing with some rust issues or lack of sharpness, so to speak. So I'd like to see him get some rounds in, but dominant rounds.
And there's a Avila lunging, trying to land a hook. And Chisora comes back and he picks up a little bit of speed here. And the crowd gets into it.
Chisora's a very talented heavyweight. He did well against some of the names that you mentioned, Hellenius, Klitschko. He did very well. He did poorly against David Haye, but that's indicative of who he is. He's very erratic. He's up, he's down. But I think if he can just get on track at 29 years of age, we could see a lot of Dereck Chisora in the future. If he can just get things together. And I spoke to his trainer about that just yesterday, and he mentioned that he's only had 40 fights, both pro and amateur total. So what we see here and what we've seen in the past is a product of just being new to the game.
Now Chisora starting to loosen up and land some good punches up against the ropes. He's starting to work a sweat. I thought early on, you know, he came in, looked kind of dry to me, Jameel and Mike. That's something that, you know, is a good indication that a fighter either hasn't warmed up properly. Sometimes you think of it as dehydration. It's just a signal. And now, you know, he's showing that sweat flowing a little bit, getting more serious. Got Avila up against the ropes, landing a right hand. A big left hook by Chisora. Now an uppercut. And using his weight advantage to his good help there.
Ripping uppercuts.
You know, Chisora, he's taken
he hurt him.
Yeah, he definitely hurt him. He's taken some shots here, I've noticed. I mean, I'm sure they don't hurt, but if you're looking to move forward in the heavyweight division, you should be focused on perfection here against a guy like Avila. Do not get hit with lazy shots. Don't let him get away with holding on the inside. Completely dominate. As I said earlier, this fight is really about what Chisora shows us tonight moving forward, not about what Avila can or will do to him.
It's about technique in a lot of ways, and if he can establish that in this fight, because we know he should win this fight, he's going to be a tremendous favorite. But see there, the right hand missed. A little bit lazy. Didn't really land crisp with that left hook.
Yeah, and he got hit there. You know, as I said, you know, his timing's off a little bit, but I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him really get into more of a perfection mode where he's really working on being sharp, being first, being last, being in charge, to show us that he is going to be someone to reckon with in the heavyweight division moving forward.
I believe Chisora is going to stop Avila in this round.
Here we go, round 3, scheduled for 10. Jeff Hines keeping a close look at Avila, who was definitely hurt midway through that second round. Avila lands a right hand. Total punches thus far in this fight, one-sided. Chisora dominating the first 2 rounds of the fight. 45 landed to 13. And 144 thrown. Hey, that's good. That's good work. It's over 70. It's over 70.
Absolutely.
For a heavyweight, that's excellent.
Absolutely.
You know, Avila only landed 13 shots, but they were an effective 13 shots, I thought.
But in the long run, if you throw 13, you're not going to win the fight.
If you're only landing 13, you're definitely not going to win.
I don't think there's going to be a long run here.
Now Chisora coming after Avila a little bit more with this, again, that big weight advantage.
Well, it's obvious that Chisora is a very dominant fighter. So it can be dangerous for him to get in with a guy like this if he's not, again, like I said, sharp, and on top of it.
And if you're lazy, it's going to catch up to you. See, there's some good quickness from Chisora. Even with the extra weight, he's got good hand speed. Sometimes he lumbers, but I like when he fights coming forward. I like when he comes at you.
Jamil, can you tell if he's trying to get rounds right now?
He's definitely trying to get rounds right now. That is so obvious because once in a while you see his speed and his quickness. In his prior fights, you will see that speed and quickness all the way through. Here, he's just showing it in spots.
Against Hellenius, he threw 56 punches per round. Against Fury, he was lethargic, threw 26 per round. Huge difference. And tonight, you saw he's thrown over 70 punches. See, there's a little bit of his athleticism, slipping a punch, feinting, coming back out, now landing at will.
Is he showing any kind of improvements? Is he showing an improved defense or anything,
Well, again, what I'd like to see him do is I'd like to see him work that jab. I'd like to see him work off the jab. I'd like to see him work the hook off the jab, the double jab, the triple jab. I'd like to really see him work on things that will take him back into the next level.
There you go. There's a Jamil jab special.
It was one jab. Okay, now he hooked off the jab. These are the things I like to see him do with more sense of urgency.
Obviously, if he would have gotten his first opponent who was more skilled and more talented, this would have been a better exhibition and also given him a better chance to hone his skills. But he's still got to get out there and get rid of the rust and put himself back in position to get a formidable opponent.
I agree. I agree that he does need a better opponent. I agree that this fight is just kind of get the ring rust off after being suspended by the British Border Control. So it's nice to see him in with a guy like this, but again, I still would like to see him be in more control.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get in this division. Even Tony Thompson, we were a little bit shocked when he upset Britt David Price, and Thompson is back in the game. And Kubrat Pulev, who we saw, we've done his fight. We did one against Alexander Ustinov, who I won't call Alexander the Great again. He's 17-0, the young man from Bulgaria. He's a guy in the heavyweight division that you'd like to see maybe Chisora fight, a young and up-and-coming guy. We mentioned Tyson Fury won today over Steve Cunningham. You've got Cristobal Arreola in that second-tier group behind the two Klitschkos and Alexander Povetkin. You've got Shagayev, who's been up and down. Hay, who's got immense talent, but you never know what's going to happen with him or when he's going to get his next fight. He's supposed to be in action June 29th against a named opponent later. So this heavyweight division, you can get in the top 10 near the bottom and get a title shot if you stay active and if you put on a good show, I think. That's a chopping shot. See, that wasn't something that would have impressed you, Jamil.
No, not at all. That's something I wouldn't have gotten hit with either. And it's something that I think he's only getting away with because Avila is less than a stellar fighter.
Might have better luck if he dropped a weight class, too.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, he was a cruiserweight for most of his career. This is only his fourth fight as a heavyweight. Moved up in December. And he's also had 3 big layoffs in his career. One was for a year, one was for a year, one was for 2 years, 3 months. At least this fight was only 28 days after his last one.
He was friends with Sergio Martinez. They roomed together as amateurs. They fell out of touch when Martinez moved to Spain. But Sergio, if you're watching, I think it would be a nice thing if you reach out and contacted Hector, maybe via Twitter or something. He'd like to hear from you.
And tell him what?
Hello. Get reacquainted. Wish him good luck. Martinez, big fight coming up in Argentina against Martin Murray.
Now Chisora comes after Avila. But Avila, you know, one thing he knows is how to tie up an opponent. He's had plenty of experience doing that. He's had 33 pro fights. He's been in with some good ones.
One of the other things I'm concerned with is Chisora fighting down to his opponent. His opponent is not that good as a world-class fighter, but he's still, you know, a decent fighter, it seems. But Chisora obviously has fought much superior talent in his career. And he's not, I don't think he's struggling with him, but he's not getting him out of there like he should get him out of there, whether he's looking for rounds or not.
I think it's time to forget about the rounds and try to end this fight. And that's what he's doing now in the corner, inside of 20 seconds in round 4. Really, you've got some rounds already. Now, let's see if you can put this guy away quickly.
And the reason why I mention that is because those are some of the things that I struggled with in my career. I would oftentimes fight down to my opponent. I would still come out with the win, but oftentimes I'd fight down to my opponent's ability.
Don't you see that in all sports, team sports as well? It happens. There's that chopping left hand. See, here's where he gets effective, Mike Woods, when he goes into a corner and he starts throwing punches, even if it's that chopping overhand right.
But I want to see improvement from fight to fight, and one of the elements is not sweeping as much, sharper, straighter punches. Don Charles, his trainer, has talked about that. That's something we see from him in the gym, but sometimes reverts to form in fights.
Well, what that is the technical term for that is turning your shots over, as opposed to just chopping and slapping. What you do is you actually turn your shot over. What that means is when you throw a right hand, it would end straight on his face, if you can hit his face, as opposed to sweeping down across his face.
So we head to the 5th round of this scheduled 10-round bout. Let's see if Chisora tries to end this thing and gets aggressive and starts letting the leather fly a little bit. He has thrown so many more punches than his opponent in this fight, although his pace has slowed down a bit. Still 271 punches thrown, 73 landed. Avila's been anemic in terms of his percentage. There's Chisora going to the body and a short uppercut. A nice combination.
Quite possible we see Chisora again in June, and maybe he's not wanting to take a chance. It's a tune-up fight. Doesn't want to get hurt, so he doesn't want to open up.
You know, I don't agree with that. Fight to fight. You fight as hard as you can fight during the fight that you're actually fighting. You don't save yourself for an upcoming fight or a fight sometime in the future, because if you mess around, you may not make it to that fight.
That's a good point, Jamil. Once you think ahead, you're in trouble. I remember Bill Parcells once telling Lawrence Taylor, stop thinking and just react. Sometimes you just have to react out there. Thinking man's game is great, but at some point you've just got to be intuitive and instinctive.
Chess is the thinking man's game. Boxing is boxing.
Crowd is getting a little restless. Avila with a poor right hand missing there, and now just covering up. And let's see Chisora, if he can load up with that right hand. There's a combination. Good uppercut by Chisora.
I'm wondering why Chisora just won't come forward with an aggressive attack for 30 seconds to get this guy out of there. This guy is ready to go.
He's ready
not
to
on
go.
His level.
He's a lot smaller.
He's a lot smaller, and he can't hurt anyone right now. He's gassed. He's tired. He's fighting with his mouth open. I'm wondering why Chisora is just not opening up.
Avila's earning his paycheck tonight.
For sure.
Yeah.
That body is getting a workout, too. Chisora dug that right hand into the body. Hey, we saw a jab, a couple jabs. And there's a left hook. Coming up on 20 seconds. Crowd wants him to try to take this guy out. Avila is using the ropes to keep himself up, keep himself in the fight, and it looks like he might survive another round.
I see two factors coming into play here. I see Chisora fighting down to his opponent, and I also see him working the ring rust off, which is not a bad thing.
It may not be entertaining, but it may be serving a purpose.
Correct. Which is not a bad thing for Team Chisora moving forward.
Not as much fun for the Epic viewers.
Correct.
But we may get him again down the road where it is more entertaining.
Like I said, he's up and down. You never know what's going to happen next.
How you feeling? Right, that was slightly better.
Mike, what about the heavyweight game in the next few years? It could change radically if Vitaly Klitschko ends up becoming full-time with the Ukrainian parliament, and if Vladimir eventually calls it quits. You've got a young Povetkin who's still undefeated, probably a mandatory for Vlad Klitschko in the next 9 months, and then all those other guys that I mentioned.
Most people are thinking that Vitaly's going to fight one more time. Then that leaves the younger brother. And that's some room to scramble, some room for some other people to step up.
And we'll see Vladimir Klitschko against Francesco Pianetta in Mannheim, Germany on May 4th, right here on Epix.
And really, you do have to tune in to those fights, because one of these days, quite likely, someone is going to
exactly. That's why
you have to watch it.
That's why our executive Travis Papacello always says, "I want to be there in Mannheim," because you don't know when it might end, and someday it has to end. And Pianetta from the same stable as Krasnicki and Stieglitz, the SES group. You know that he's got a great story overcoming cancer, and he's a big guy. He just doesn't have the experience or the tough opponents going in.
Here's what I'd like to see. I want to see him come out guns a-blazing like Stieglitz did against Abraham. If that happens, we're going to get some good action. And I've heard, actually, in the grapevine that that might be the game plan, Pianetta against Klitschko. I'm hoping.
And you'll see it live on Epix on May 4th. Chisora looked like he was thinking about trying to put a final punch on this bout, but now he's backed off a little bit in this 6th round.
I do know from reliable sources that Chisora may be fighting Thomas Adamak sometime this summer.
All right, who do you like in that one?
It's a very good fight. That makes Chisora will definitely be up for that fight. And Adamek is just a great talent, lots of experience, 40 best in the world.
48-2, comes off the win over Steve Cunningham. That was in December, but we saw that Cunningham got beat by Fury today, so he's not really at the level, I think, right now that Adamek is. Dan Rayfield's got Adamek ranked 5th in his top 10 heavyweights, behind Cristobal Arreola, Povetkin, and the two Klitschkos. And another warning here from Jeff Hines. I think he is he going to take away a point? I think he may. No, he did not.
That would still make for a really good fight. Chisora and Adamek. That would just, the two guys, the two styles would look great together. Chisora will definitely be up for that, and he would come out guns a-blazing. So maybe that's what he's working here tonight on, some of the things he would try against an Adamek.
Put a 3-punch combination together there, all with right hands. I would like to see him go more to the body here. And there's a point. Now it's being taken away by referee Jeff Hines. He's just doing too much grabbing, too much holding, and he's been warned, but he's doing what he can do. He's giving away 34 pounds.
That's kicking him in while he's down. He's totally overmatched. I haven't noticed excessive holding that would warrant a point taken.
And he's trying to earn his paycheck.
He's definitely earned his paycheck.
Yes, he has. Chisora backs him up. Right hand. And again, another round goes by. And another 10-9 round.
Legs up. Thank you.
Listening in the corners.
¿Está bien?
Levanta la cabeza. ¿Cómo te sentís?
sordo. ¿Sordo?
¿Acá de este oído?
No, el otro.
Ah.
Están en la frente, Guasidón.
Yeah?
Sí.
You're when you finish attacking, you're standing in front of him and he's sitting up for you, right? Okay? Are you listening to me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
You're listening to me. Well, do as I'm asking you to do. Yeah? Come on.
This fight has sapped a lot of the energy out of the arena, which was there when Nathan Cleverly put on a tremendous boxing exhibition over Robin Krasnicki to defend his WBO light heavyweight title for the 5th time, and certainly put himself in any talks for any big unification fight. Jamil, what do you think about the class he showed in responding to the question about Hopkins and saying that he wants to see where he is. Like it's a great test to play, to be in the ring against a great champion and to fight him. And instead of saying I just want him, I asked him if he was obsessed, and he talked about more of the side that he just wants to get a chance to find out where he's at.
Cleverly's a very smart man. He's intelligent. He understands how the game works. And more importantly, he really impressed me with the fact that he knew what was in front of him. Yes, he did hear some rumblings in the grapevine that he could be fighting Hopkins or a unification fight, one of the other top names. But he did stay very focused and put on a tremendous boxing exhibition here tonight against Krasnicki, who I thought would do much more than he actually did. And I don't think he did less because he couldn't. I just think he did less because Krasnicki just put him in that position.
Now Chisora lands another right hand here in the 7th round. You saw a little smile from Avila, so he is not being hurt. I thought a couple of times earlier in the fight, Michael Woods, it looked like he might have gotten up against the ropes and was in some trouble. Middle rounds, and now Chisora chops away at the body.
Color me quite surprised that Avila is still on his feet.
Yeah.
Still here.
I think your prediction was a little bit different than this. I think you said inside 5, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of holding now. He's winded. He's gassed. This is a time where we should see Chisora kind of step it up and really practice on finishing guys off.
Avila throwing a couple jabs and putting Chisora into the corner. Now Chisora answers back, counters with a solid body blow.
There's been blood in the water since round 2. It's time for the shark to bite and end the fight.
Chisora lands a right, a left. But again, Avila is so adept at tying up his opponent. He's already lost the point. It really isn't a factor. Oh, Chisora was missing a wild right hand.
Yeah, Chisora is really showing that he's definitely in a learning pattern right now, and it seems as if he is okay with that, which is, I really can't judge either way, if that's good or bad. Only him and his trainer understand what's going on tonight. Why he's allowing this man to be here even after 7 rounds when he is clearly a superior fighter.
And a little respect shown there by the 2 fighters at the end of the round. I think Chisora's corner, including his trainer Don Charles, would like to see less respect in this case. Get out there and get wild with this guy. Get aggressive. He's got 7 rounds of work. There's Chisora's girlfriend. He's a local product, lives in Hampstead, originally from Zimbabwe. But Chisora was telling us about great restaurants that we should try in the London area. So he really loves this town. Used to be in the leasing business for a long time with Lamborghinis and other high-priced cars, but he since has moved on. Said it was hard to get payments.
Really?
Right.
The boxer couldn't track down payments?
Yeah. He could knock anybody out, right? Round number 8. Now Chisora doubling up on the jab. That's what Jamil McCline wants to see.
That is what I would love to see. I would love to see him start using that jab sharp and crisp and come off that jab with combinations also sharp and crisp.
I think he's gotten a little better in this round. He's landed a couple of jabs. He's getting more aggressive. But the whole crowd here wants this to end.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see a little talking. He's apologizing. Okay. Avila's trying to touch gloves. It's turning into a friend fest out here as opposed to a fist fest.
Very good, Jamil. Avila lands the right hand. And back to the clinch.
Here's the thing. If Chisora blasted him out in 2 rounds, everyone would say, well, the guy's a bum. Getting rounds in, shedding rust, getting the win, I think it works for him.
It doesn't matter if he gets rounds in or not. It doesn't change the fact that Avila is what people may think he is, which is not on Chisora's level.
Which is a traveling underdog matched against contenders or local favorites on their home turf.
I don't know. I'm trying to think on the bright side.
Yeah.
Well, I think now, if you finish at least with a knockout.
Well, this is what I was saying in round 7. I'd like to see him come out, sharp jabs, sharp combinations off that jab, and really just put an assault together that's going to get Avila out of here tonight. And show everyone, the Epic viewers and the others around the world, that he is still a formidable guy to deal with in the heavyweight division.
And, you know, Avila has been knocked out 8 times in his career. It's not like he's one of these guys that just can stand in there against anybody toe-to-toe. So of his 12 losses, 8 have been by knockouts. So if you want to make some comparison to what Chisora's doing or not doing, I think that number's fair, Michael Woods.
And I'm wondering, do you derive anything from this? Do you say to yourself, well, actually, the Chisora power isn't actually all that? This guy's been stopped 8 times. What if he doesn't get a stoppage?
No, everything's there. Chisora definitely has the power. You don't lose the power.
Okay.
You don't, it doesn't diminish because of who's in front of you. I just think that he's just trying to get the rounds in.
And give referee here, Jeff Hines, he's trying to do his best to try to get Avila to stop clinching, but that is his game, and that's what he's trying to do, to stay in there, giving away the 38 pounds. And he's been fair as an opponent as he gets through the 8th round.
Again, like I say, you know, they're touching each other. You know, it's like a sparring match here, which is okay, I guess, for Chisora to get the ring rust off, to get the rounds in, because even though it looks like he's not working hard, I assure you, it is tough in there.
I'm going to take the other side now. Boxing is the entertainment business. Are these people being entertained?
I'm being entertained.
You are?
I'm being entertained because I love the game.
Okay.
There's Chisora missing that right hand, and you can see Avila just doing a great job of trying to cover up in that situation. That's what he wanted to do, and that's what he was effective to do.
Yes, you know, and he's doing he's doing exactly what he was brought here to do.
But it behooves the other guy to, even though he was brought here for that reason, to try to take him out.
I'd like to see Avila put a little pressure on Dereck and force Chisora to pick up the game and get him out of here right now in this round. That's what I would like to see, because it's obvious with Dereck Chisora's pedigree, Tyson Fury, Vitaly Klitschko. I mean, the list is David Hay. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I mean, against the great fighters that he's fought and he's hung in there with, and he's even dominated and won rounds with. So it's obvious that he's just either trying to get the rounds in, taking his time.
Here's a theory. Avila came to win, but a win for him is finishing the fight.
That's fair.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Well, at least Chisora's working up a good sweat. I think he'll lose a bunch of pounds in this fight. Let's see if he can keep him off.
Looking on the bright side, Bruce.
And he wants to get down to a better weight. I was surprised. He wants to get down in the 230s, I think, somewhere down the line. He's never proven that. Here's a look at the punches in the fight. Chisora's number of 471 is really not bad. 151 landed.
Yeah, decent volume from him today.
Yeah, he's definitely throwing punches, that's for sure.
He is. It's not a lazy outing.
No, it's not a lazy outing, by far. I just like to see him maybe even go to the body of Avila with the straight right hand, come back upstairs with the left hook, and see how, kind of made him dance there.
Yeah, he was on the move, and the left hand, he hit him right on the button, Avila, as he was going by Chisora. And that staggered him a little bit. I don't know if he got his feet tangled up or had bad balance, but there's a body blow from Chisora.
Chisora dedicated this fight to Mrs. Thatcher. And in honor of that, he had the foe going a little bit wobbly, Bruce. Another point taken away.
And this time for elbows. Obviously, points not a consideration in this decision because every round's been 10-9 in my mind.
Every round.
To your credit, you're still keeping the scorecard.
Every round.
I have to,
Mr. Sharp,
I have
God
to stay
bless
with it. Jeff Hines has been one of the busiest customers out there, and he's the ref.
Yes, he has. He's definitely earning his pay tonight also. He's keeping a close eye on the action right now.
Hey, there, Avila doing some counter punching, getting Chisora mad.
There you go.
That's what the crowd wants it.
This is what Chisora is capable of. I'm just not really sure why he's not doing it more consistently.
It took a little bit of eating some leather himself to get him fired up. There's a good left hook, his best punch of the night. And Avila is in deep trouble. I think this will be stopped momentarily as Jeff Hines steps in there. And that's it. So Chisora finally did what he wanted to do, what everyone wanted him to do as well.
I mean, even the way he stopped the fight was lackluster. I wasn't sure what he was doing there.
He was stopping it there.
I don't think he knew what he was doing when he stepped in. It looked like he was just stepping in to take a look and just decided
he was going to administer a standing aid or something.
It's enough of this.
What's the word, or the 2 words, or 3 words? It was time, and it was ended. And Chisora got the TKO. And he got a lot of rounds in, so maybe for him, it's a lot more positive of an outing than it was for the viewing public and for us at home.
He's going to take it as a positive. Got the rounds in. Avila earned his pay. He worked hard. He was not there to lie down.
So a 9th round TKO for Dereck Chisora. Punctuated that combination with a left hook, and that was it right there. That was the end of the fight as far as the referee Jeff Hines was concerned. He had seen enough. Not enough effort the other way. Nope, I'm sorry, that's it.
Is that the most mellow stoppage you've ever seen? He just kind of walked in.
Well, he was a little disgusted himself because he was taking away points for, you know, the dirtiness or the sloppiness.
Yes, he was.
Of Hector Avila. Let's wait for Mark Burtis to give us the official call. His microphone's in some trouble, so things are all going a little bit haywire here at the end of the night at hallowed Wembley.
At 2 minutes 49 seconds of the 9th round, the referee stopped the contest. He deemed Hector Alfredo Avila was in no position to continue. The winner in the blue corner from Finchley, Dereck Chisora.
And Chisora's got plenty of fans here, so he doesn't have to do much to get them riled up. He did more in his introduction, and there was a greater participation for the crowd than there was during the